guys, naturally I'm in my kitchen. I wanted to hop on here and talk about what I shared on Instagram yesterday, which was kind of a little story about when I was 15 years old, how I went to World Youth Day and was able to see the beauty of the faith. Bishop Barron kind of ignited a fire for me to share this, that when we share a lot of the truth in the church, it can be overwhelming. There's so much, and you can learn the rest of your life and will never learn all of the things and all of the goodness that makes up the faith. So beginning with the beauty is what will draw you in and grow your faith. So I wanted to share some things that have helped me fall in love deeper with the faith, and it's a daily choice and it's a daily practice, and I fail every day, but I think these things that I want to share with you can help anyone, and you probably already do half of them, but it's nice to be reminded of them. My first tip would be to wake up an hour early before your kids are up, or just an hour to have to yourself in quiet time every single morning. That means just sitting in silence, not being on your phone, not checking anything, just you and God and whatever comes up. And in that time you can do morning pages, which is another awesome tool, and it's just writing 3 pages of word dump and whatever comes to your mind. Getting that on the page and then putting it to rest and not letting it kind of take over the rest of your day. So that's the one thing that really helps me, waking up early and writing and spending that time with the Lord and in quiet. Another thing that I think is really helpful during quarantine, especially, at least in California, we're still in quarantine basically, is doing retreats with friends. And there's plenty online, there's books for it. I just did the Mary and Mercy retreat with a couple people, and I learned so much about God's mercy and how to become saints, and it was super cool. So I did that with a bunch of people, and that helps community, just building that group in your life that you can turn to and ask questions and bounce things off of each other and grow with each other. So doing retreats. With the retreats, Father Michael Gailey's the best, but so is Donald Calloway. He did the consecration of St. Joseph. So there's so many. You can do all these different retreats, read spiritual readings with other friends and just discuss it. I think that's huge. Even being in a book club with like-minded girls back where I lived in Alexandria was so incredible, and we inspired one another, and I definitely learned a lot. Listening to podcasts on the faith. My favorite podcasts are the Abiding Together podcast with Sister Miriam, Michelle Benzinger, and Heather Kim. They are 3 best friends, and they discuss all things the faith, and I feel like I learned something new every episode, and also don't feel so alone in the things I think. So love that podcast. I also love the Burrowshire podcast, Word on Fire podcast, which is Bishop Barron's. And there's so many. I have a podcast too. It's called the Unraveled Podcast. And it's my best friend and I, Bridget O'Boyle. And we interview awesome humans who are unraveling their call beautifully. And I'm so thankful for that. So just opening your eyes to that world is really important. The Magnificat. So you can see mine is well loved. This is just a monthly subscription. It has the daily readings for the Mass, which something you may not know is that you can go to Mass anywhere in the world, and we're all reading the same reading every day, which is so powerful, right? Daily Mass readings are in here with a meditation and a morning prayer and evening prayer. Super helpful. Another tip I have, which my spiritual director told me to do a few years ago, is the nightly examine. And that it's not as scary as it sounds. Like, it's not like getting ready for confession, but it's basically an overview of your day before bed. After dinner, you sit by yourself and kind of reflect on everything that happened in your day, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you kind of give it over to God and say, hey, I messed up here, I want to work on this. And then you start to figure out all the traps you keep falling into on a daily basis, and then that's where the work is, and that's where you learn more about yourself and how to grow in those icky, uncomfortable places, because it can be uncomfortable, and that's what growth is. And this year for me has been a lot of that. I remember woke up on January 1st this year thinking it'd be a completely different year than it is, lol. And I said, God, please just work on me. And even if it hurts, just be a little gentle, but please work out all the kinks and help me to grow. And he has been working on some kinks, and it's been painful, but I know that in the end, it will only bear fruit, just like my garden outside, which needs a lot of work. But anyways, spend some time in adoration. I wish I had more time. There's my excuse. Don't have an excuse. I should be there every day. I don't go every day because I'm embarrassed that my kids will run around and make a lot of noise. But just sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament, spending time with Jesus for an hour in silence again, and letting him reveal himself to you. I think that can be super powerful. Another tip I have, what tip are we on? Tip 10, is going on pilgrimage, which is kind of what my post was about yesterday. And that is probably the most life-changing experience I've ever encountered. And it is being in a different country by myself with other people who are searching for truth and goodness, and suffering with one another, and learning about the lives of the saints and the rich history of the church. And it really always reminds me about how small my world is and how little my problems are, and how at home and back in America, I really do have it pretty good. And that being away kind of makes you think and allows you the space to just grow and make room for him in your life. And I'm so grateful for those times I got to leave and go on pilgrimage and go learn about these incredible saints like St. Faustina, St. Maximilian Kolbe, JP2, Mother Teresa, you name it, and see how they lived their life and why they were so filled to the brim with joy. So that's super helpful. So yeah, my last tip is learning more about the lives of the saints. There are so many, I don't even know sometimes which one I should read about next, because their lives are so full, and they were not perfect, but they were able to turn their flaws into virtue. And that's the incredible thing, I think, is acknowledging our shortcomings and asking God to use those and change them into a gift. So let's say I'm passionate and can get angry all the time, or prideful. Maybe he can turn that into passion for the truth. I mean, look at St. John the Baptist. He was loud and proud, and sure there are 1,000 other things I'm not thinking of right now. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video. I think speaking of following people on social media that bring joy and light to the truth is super important. Off the top of my head are a few. Mary Lenneberg, go look at her story. It's so powerful, and I found her about 4 years ago at a hard time in my life, and she just taught me to be brave in the scared. That is her phrase, be brave in the scared. And she is a writer, she's incredible. Finding Philothea, who is constantly sharing beauty in the church, and you will be just so obsessed with everything she shows. Recently, the movie A Hidden Life. Whoa, let me just say that. Whoa, go watch that film. Bishop Barron, Word on Fire, the Basic Catholic, who is my dear friend, so shout out Austin. The Arlington Church, Blessed is She, great, they do meditations every morning. The Catholic Company, She Reads Truth, all of them. Just go and find them. It's like a small but mighty community, and they're all there. So those are a couple of my favorites. Anyway, I could go on and on. I will leave it there. Thank you for watching. I just think in this time, it's so easy to get sucked up in all the news that's being thrown at us and question just what is truth and what is not. And it's really quite simple. Whatever brings you peace in your heart and a sense of contentment, that is from God. And I think diving deeper into that part of our lives will kind of answer all the other questions. So yeah, that's kind of what prompted me to get on here and talk about those things. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, please drop them below. You can send me an Instagram message. I'm at Kenzie Ray Van Mev, and my podcast is at Unraveled Podcast, and I'm always ready to talk about these fun things. Thank you.